Dear students, today we will be studying another topic of synthesizing nanomaterials, and that is the chemical vapor deposition method. While synthesizing nanomaterials, actually, chemical vapor deposition is a chemical process that actually utilizes to prepare very high quality as well as high purity, high performance solid material, and this technique is suitable for the manufacture of coatings, for manufacture of powders, fibers, nanomonolithic components, etc. And mostly this particular technique is used in preparing thin film thin films of having nano materials coating. Actually, by definition, if I want to say what is chemical vapor deposition, then we can say that it's a deposition of a solid on a heated surface from a chemical reaction in the vapor phase. So as the name suggests, we actually want to have a chemical reaction between two substances A and B, so that takes place in the formation of the vapor and the reactants after reacting to give the products also in the vapor phase, and then condensation of that vapor on a solid surface so that we have a coating of it. So it belongs to the class of actually vapor transfer processes, which is atomistic in nature, that ultimately we will be having the basic units. And that is, it means that it is the deposition of the species either in the form of atoms or molecules or a combination of both of this. So if we want to have a better understanding of chemical vapor deposition, then we can say that these methods actually have a very great significance in the generation of carbon-based nanomaterials. And in CVD, a thin film is formed on the substrate surface via the chemical reaction of vapor phase precursor. So if I again say that if we take precursor A and B, then we expect that there will be some chemical reaction between A and B in the vapor phase, and then it will result in the formation of another product C, which will again be in the vapor phase, and ultimately it will be allowed to deposit on a particular solid surface. However, since we want the chemical reaction to happen in the vapor phase, so it means that the reactants which we will be taking for chemical vapor deposition must possess some characteristic qualities, and the characteristic qualities will be the adequate volatility, because if the substance is not volatile readily, then we will have to spend a large amount of energy to make it volatile. And then it must be of high chemical purity, otherwise along with it some unwanted materials present as an impurity will also produce vapor to react with one another. Then it must have a very good stability during evaporation, otherwise if we continuously give it energy to go to vapor phase, and during that process if it breaks down to some other species, that will not at all be wanted. Then it must be of low cost, since preparation of the vapor and all these things may lead to some release of the vapor, or maybe there will be a high need of vapor. I mean high quantity of vapors will be required to get the desired product. So if it is a very costlier element or costlier material, then it may lead to some problem. It must be non-hazardous in nature, because it will be in the vapor form. So if it is toxic, it will bring some kind of destruction, and it must have a long shelf life. Moreover, its decomposition should not result in residual impurities, otherwise they will also deposit on the hard surface where we want to actually have another substance. For instance, in the generation of carbon nanotubes via CVD, a substrate is placed in an oven and then it is heated to a very high temperature to get the vapors. Subsequently, carbon containing such as hydrocarbon gas is slowly introduced into the system as a precursor, and at high temperature the decomposition of the gas releases carbon atoms which recombine to form carbon nanotubes on the substrate. There are so many examples of this particular method utilized. That means the chemical vapor method is utilized. We can take a very few of them. For example, the simplest CVD process actually involves pyrolytic decomposition or decomposition with the help of thermal energy. Where we have the compound, and we generally take that compound in the gaseous state, and then we allow it to go to higher state so that it goes to the vapor phase, and then along with going to the vapor phase, it decomposes or produces some other compound in the atomic state, and then in that atomic state it can be deposited. For example, if we take the tungsten, the toughest metal having the highest melting point, it will not decompose easily. If we take the tungsten metal and allow it to react with, suppose this is A and this is B, we are allowing A to react with B so that we will get back the metal in the solid state A, and we will be having hydrogen fluoride. Since this is solid, it will not broken down, it will be in the atomic state, but the hydrogen fluoride produced will be in the gas or in the vapor phase, so it can be taken out easily. This will be in the atomic state. Then we will take a titanium tetrachloride, allow it to react with a hydrocarbon. For example, it is methane, resulting in the formation of titanium carbide. Another HCl gas, it will be in the gas, in the vapor phase, it can be removed easily. This is a solid, this is a solid, both are in the atomic state. Then the titanium trichloride in presence of nitrogen and hydrogen gas will give rise to titanium nitride, again the gas, and then these two, titanium carbide as well as titanium nitride, can be decomposed or can be placed above the surface of the tungsten metal, or we can say these two can be coated over the tungsten metal. Tungsten metal can get a thin coating of titanium carbide or titanium nitride. All will be in the vapor state. Even though they are in the vapor state, but they will be in the solid form, and if they are in solid form, we can assume that they will be in the atomic state or in the molecular state, or a combination of both. So similar is the way of decomposing alumina, that means aluminium oxide, where we have aluminum hexachloride reacting with carbon dioxide and water, giving rise to alumina, or this will be in the solid form, these are in the gaseous form, so we can easily remove them, and thereby depositing aluminium oxide into the surface wherever we want it to give a coating. So these are different, there are so many research papers. This one is from Elsevier, a research paper where boron nitrogen carbide wrote on simultaneous in situ CVD on copper plate. So on above a copper surface, we are saying that there is a deposition of boron nitrogen carbide. Then we can have graphene on copper by CVD, graphene on copper, graphene having the hexagonal structure, and it is deposited over the copper surface. So similarly, we can see that actually we can go for synthesizing different type of things with the help of with the help of the CVD technique. In order to show how this CVD is done, we can have a schematic diagram. For example, suppose we are sending some reactant gas along this direction at a very high temperature. We are sending some reacting gas or the reactant. So we can say that we are allowing the reactant gas in the vapor phase to go in that at a very high temperature, around 200 to 500 degrees centigrade. We are allowing the reactant gas to flow through it. But during this process, we create a surface. We create a surface with holes in them. We create a boundary surface and with holes in them. So this is, suppose we are having a surface with holes in between, and then below that surface, below that boundary walls or boundary layer, we can say below this boundary layer, we keep our substance where we want to have the coating. Suppose this is our surface where we want to have the coating of the reactant gas. Then what it will happen while this reactant gas is moving, but at the same time, since they are in the gaseous form, they can diffuse through wherever they get some spaces. So there it is so much possible that some of the reactant gases may diffuse through the holes present in the boundary layer. So if they come there and if they get diffused through the boundary wall, then we may assume that there may be some reaction with the substrate molecules or with the molecules present on the substrate or present with the surface where we want them to we want to get the coating. So we can say that these are actually the diffusion of the reactants. This we can say these are diffusion of the reactants through the holes, and then they may get here, they may get absorbed. Since this is a hard surface, solid surface, so they may get absorbed. And once they get absorbed, they may result in the reaction between these two. So the reactant gas may get some chemical reaction with the substrate. So if the chemical reaction takes place, then they may produce some molecule C which will be deposited on the surface. So we may get some molecule C which will be deposited on the surface, but at the same time there will be some molecules D which are not at all wanted by the surface. So if they are not wanted by the surface, there will be diffusion or desorption of these molecules D because the surface doesn't want them. So there will be desorption of the absorbed gas and they will be removed as a byproduct. They will be removed as byproduct or unwanted molecules. So if we say that what are the processes that takes place during CVD, then we can say that first and foremost there will be diffusion of reactants, and there may be some diffusion through the boundary layer, and then through the boundary layer, if they get diffused, if there is a reactant gas, if they get diffused, it may happen that they undergo some kind of chemical reaction with the surface, and that will result to some absorption on the surface. And after absorption, if this results in the formation of some unwanted molecules, these will be removed as byproducts. So these are the actually sequence of this. So just as I showed last time, that tungsten hydride, when we allow them to react, or tungsten hydride, if we want to deposit it with titanium nitride or titanium chloride. So tungsten hexafluoride, when reacting with hydrogen at high temperature, it will give you the metal. Suppose we can say that this is the tungsten surface where we want to deposit titanium carbide. So in the process, as we shown in the figure, this may be the tungsten surface, and there we also may have some direct reaction with titanium salts to produce titanium carbide or titanium nitride, so that they ultimately can be deposited on the hard surface. Hence, this particular technique will give us actually high purity substance if the reactants we take are in the pure state. And there are so many operating conditions for the CVD, because we see that since CVD deals with preparation of the vapor, So that vapor pressure will play an important part. Hence, we can say that depending on the pressure we are applying, the CVD can be classified or divided into different categories. First and foremost, if we carry out the chemical vapor deposition process at the